afternoon, everybody. My name is Lorenza and I work for the European Industrial Hemp Association, and I'm very happy and I see that you are super excited to discuss about fibers. Oh, good! That's super cool. So, we will share the presentation with me and my colleague Francesco. Some words about Francesco.
So I'm Senior Policy Advisor. I cover mostly bioeconomy applications of hemp, so in agriculture and environment.
So super boring. I'm less boring because I'm covering the upper part of the plants where we find the seeds and some cannabinoids, the leaves and the flower. So we are a trade association. We are sitting in Brussels. You can see our office is just beside the European Parliament, the European Commission. We are doing advocacy and lobbying at the European level. As I said before, we are a small team. I'm the managing director, and with Monica, that she's in the room as well, we take care of the upper part of the plants, while Francesco and...
Yeah, as I said, we mostly work on agriculture, environment, and bioeconomy application with another colleague of mine, so it's half and half. So we focus on both aspects of the plant.
Okay, some numbers on our association. Today we count nearly 240 regular members, which means companies. We have 32 associate members that are individual, that can join EIA to have access to the information. We are building, hopefully, a little bit more some national association. We are doing that, and then we have 12 membership plus. Membership plus tend to be a consultant or tax advisor or lawyers that, again, they can join us and participate in all the activities that we are doing. Our biggest target, I would say, is trying to advocate to obtain a positive legislation around hemp and all its derived products. From another side, we build as well some network for allowed our member to create, hopefully, some business opportunities as well. We cover mostly Europe. However, we are active, for me a little bit too much, at national level, but we are doing that because at national level, unfortunately, all over 27 member states, we cannot count today on strong national association. Therefore, we go beyond our mandate sometimes, and we are active at national level as well. However, when it comes to international level, the seat is empty. Actually, the seat was empty, as we have recently founded the Federation of International Hemp Organization, where all the associations coming from different continents, we have Australia, New Zealand, China, US and Canada, we join forces to be the voice of the sector within the international panel, meaning Codex Alimentarius, FAO, and United Nations, where they do not love so much.
Yeah, but we'll make quite good progress, actually.
Indeed. Next. So what we are talking about cannabis sativa L. We should only speak about one species of cannabis, which is the cannabis genus, instead of keep speaking about ruderalis, indica, sativa. We believe that there is only one genus of cannabis, and then we have different...
It's scientists that believe so, not us, so...
Indeed, and we follow. So, next.
And how to define in industrial hemp? Of course, we usually use the THC level on the field, which can be between 0 to 0.3% and 1%. So these are the average values around the world to distinguish hemp, industrial hemp, from medicinal or adult use cannabis. Now, just maybe like a question, like sort of a quiz.
Our members cannot reply.
Yes. So maybe a question for you. So who would you think who's defining the THC level that is allowed in hemp in Europe? Do you believe that it's the European Union or it's member state deciding that? Can we make this little survey?
If you believe that is the European Union, please raise your hands now. Okay.
Wonderful. So all the others are...
All the others believe that it's national...
Actually, it's a bit more complex than that, because we always hear about this 0.3%, 0.2% at the European level, but that is only the threshold for the purpose of giving direct payments to farmers. So maybe you know that in Europe, farmers, they receive money from the European Union to produce whatever crop they, not whatever. Of course, industrial hemp below 0.2% and then will be 0.3%. So there is an established THC level for these payments. And many member states basically copy-paste at that level and use it for the purpose of the legality of the crop. But in fine, it is the member state that decides what is the maximum level of THC in the hemp plant. And there are countries, for example, the Czech Republic that adopted 1% recently, and there's Italy that went up to 0.6%, so it's a sort of a margin when it comes to controls on the field. But overall, the 0.3% will be the least, it will be at least 0.3% from the 1st of January 2023. This was an advocacy battle. It was a battle actually, because we had many people against the increase of the THC level on the field from 0.2 to 0.3. So it will be 0.3 from next year. So again, in the end, it is member state that decide what is hemp.
Yes, let's reiterate, because it's so important and so many people have no idea. So the 0.3% is linked to direct payment. What does it mean? It means that if I am a farmer, wherever I am in Europe, and I decide to plant up to 0.4, if there are no other regulation on national level that doesn't allow me, it simply means that Brussels is not sending me the money.
As a farmer?
Not that I'm not allowed. And this is very important. So the question that we have asked to everybody, is the 0.3 legal or whatever, is a legal limits, yes or no? The answer is no, it's just linked to direct payment. But then, as Francesco explained, each member state can do a little bit whatever they want, and most of the time they misuse these limits, that again, it's only for direct payment. The case of Italy, up to 0.6, they adapt. The case of Czech Republic.
1%. And also, this is more like our definition of hemp. What is industrial hemp, or what should be industrial hemp? So it should be cannabis sativa varieties that are grown open field, using sustainable farming practices, ideally. In Europe, we're moving towards more sustainable farming, and where the whole plant is used. You can see here there's a CBD production and hemp for fiber. Whole plant approach, it is key for us. Because it makes sense from a sustainability point of view, from economic point of view. Of course, we have to work a bit on the varieties, on the farming practices to make sure that we can harvest both seeds and fiber, or flowers and fibers. It will
dual tribal use
as well. So this, if grown this way, it is a highly sustainable crop. You all know the advantages of hemp for the soil, for the air, for the bees, and for the bioeconomy.
Can I be a little bit clearer?
Please.
If you plant hemp into a greenhouse in pots, this is not so sustainable. We believe that industrial hemp cultivated in this way, meaning double or triple use, it really becomes a sustainable plant.
So it is a different sector. I mean, of course you can, I'm sure we encourage those who plant indoor to make sure that they have a higher sustainability when it comes to, for example, energy consumption, which seems to be the only things you can play with, so how much energy you use in your greenhouse. But of course we cannot make the same claim for indoor grown hemp, cannabis, whatever, as we can for outdoor grown cannabis. That was the point. What are we observing now? Where do we stand when it comes to hemp products market here in Europe? Are we experiencing a renaissance of hemp? We believe that we are moving from zero to hero. We're maybe not there yet, but we'll get there. And please do not underestimate the potential of fiber and sheets application, because hemp is looked at by big industrial companies working in construction sector, in the textile sector, non-woven sector, and it is the best resource for transition towards greener economies, because it's the only fiber crop that we can grow everywhere in Europe, from Finland to Sicily, and it is also a very high quality crop. So it is a great opportunity, not only for the medical purposes that have been discussed until now at the conference, but also for bioeconomy applications, and of course for food applications. Let's not forget seeds, and of course the flowers for CBD products. As we said, it's a highly sustainable crop, and it can also bring opportunities for repatriating value chains. Maybe for those who come from the Americas and not acquainted with the vocabulary that has been used by the European institutions, but they've been speaking more and more about getting back the value chains all the, the trade war between China and US, and then the Ukraine war, and then the COVID, we saw how fragile our value chains are at global level, and like European institutions and national institutions are trying to rebuild those value chains here in Europe. And this is a great opportunity for those who want to invest in industrial hemp. Let's talk about food and feed as well.
Absolutely. Food and feed belongs to the seeds, so we can harvest the seeds on top of the fibers, as we have said before. Why we are interested in the seeds? Because it's a good protein. It contains a good protein contents. It's a plant-based alternative. We know that there are many people that are switching their diets towards a more plant-based diet. So hemp could be, on top of all the others, a good source of alternative for meat. It's a trend that is increasing dramatically. We have seen some figures during our conference, and it's a booming sector that is still, for me, untapped when it comes to hemp, but the margin to grow are quite good. It can be sold as well as a food supplement, and of course we are not throwing away any parts of the plants, which makes, one more time, hemp really a sustainable crop. Next, please. When we talk about seeds, the operators have a small issue, which is what?
They had a small issue that we solved. You solved that.
Indeed. Hopefully, we all solve, absolutely. So when the operators are trading hemp seeds, there is only one thing that they have to control, is the THC limits in the seeds, meaning in the final product. So till the 1st of January 2023 in Europe, there are no maximum level of THC in the seeds, which made the operators become crazy, because there is different value or there is no value, because till today we only had an EFSA opinion. By definition, an opinion is not legally binding. However, member states were looking so closely to this opinion coming from EFSA.
Which is the European Food Safety Authority, for those who are not familiar with that.
So, as I said, till now there was no maximum level, so the European Industrial Hemp Association advocated for many years to finally convince the member state to adopt a maximum level that is similar from Poland to Lisbon, and especially it's mandatory, meaning that all member states have to comply. So you see in the slide, these are the limits. Let's explain a little bit the limits. So the member state gave us 3 mg per kilogram for seeds and 7.5 for the oil. On top of that, they allowed us, like any other protein or any other food, they allowed us to add an uncertainty factor to make sure that the range is respected. So when we count the maximum level, we should make a simple calculation, the maximum level plus the uncertainty factor, which brings us to the value that you can see on the right side of the screen. So this value, let's take the 11 ppm. ppm is equal to milligram per kilogram. This is the same value of Canada and US. So we are quite happy. We still have some limits that are lower compared to Canada and US when it comes to seeds, but so far we cannot increase them more. Why? Because we do not have any studies that show that we can go beyond the ARDF, which stands for acute reference dose for THC. So this is why we are conducting, but we will see that later, the biggest trial on human beings on THC. Next, please. These are some examples of products that we can find today on the market that derive from seeds. As you see, we do have products. We do have this product. You can find them in most of the supermarket in Europe, and is a growing sector, definitely. It's the same. Oof.
Make it short, Lorenza. We have to talk about the fiber.
Oh, you're right. So when it comes to the flower and the leaves, we would love to sell them as food supplement. Member states do not agree. European Food Safety Authorities neither. So we have an issue, as you can see. What we do not like, and this makes our members very angry, and I have to admit that I agree with them, is that member states are changing their mind. In 1997, the European Industrial Hemp Association had received not 1, 2 letters from the European Commission saying, guys, go ahead, it's not a novel food, it's traditional food. Therefore, our member invested the money into processing line to market this product as food supplement. Then comes 2016, there is a booming on the market, the member states are getting nervous, so they decided to change the so-called novel food catalog, which again is not a legally binding document by member state because there is nothing on hemp. They tend to follow even a non-legally binding document.
What is a novel food, Lorenzo?
Oh dear, no, they know, come on, a novel food is a food that has not to be consumed up to a significant degree before 1997. We can discuss hours, what does it mean significant, we will not agree, so imagine if I do agree with member state on that. So 2016 we experienced the first change, some of the products are novel, some of them are still not novel food, so the market is still surviving quite well. 2019 I joined EIA. 10 days after, we got the change on the catalog, everything is novel, leaves, flower and extract. Again, what does it mean novel? It means that you need a pre-market authorization before marketing this product. Again, what does it mean? It's a very complex and very costly process that allows you to obtain a paper that makes authorities feel more comfortable when they see your products on the market. And then it happened 2020. I would say that we never expect such a change, but in 2020, for a moment that was hopefully very brief, couple of months, the European Commission and the member state thought that hemp was a narcotic. Then they said that they were joking, so at the end of the 2020 they changed their mind and they confirmed that all parts of the plants can be considered a food. Novel, but still a food. Let's see what's going on afterwards. This is our position, the position of our member, the position of the association. Guess what? We do not agree with member states. So we do believe that only isolate and enriched cannabinoids should be considered as novel food, while low concentration, or what we call the naturally occurring level of cannabinoid, should be traded like it was before 2016 and before as a traditional food. Next. So what we are doing, we have decided, I don't know why, but we did it, to do the novel food application on the behalf of our members. So we have founded a consortium of companies, we have collected 3.5 million euros, and we have launched several novel food applications. We have one for isolated CBD, we have one for synthetic CBD. No one of our members care about synthetic CBD, but you remember hemp was a narcotic, so only synthetic was a viable solution for us, so we have filled in even the application for synthetic. But where we care the most are the full spectrum extract, which are the more complex. Why? Because they do contain THC. So for these three types of products, we have conducted and we are still conducting novel food application on the behalf of our member. Next. Where we stand, these are the talks that we have been doing, two big expenses, nearly 2 million euros were spent on the toxicity of isolate and full spectrum. These are all the studies that we have been performing so far. And then in parallel, as I said before, because full spectrum contains THC, we decided to invest 1.6 million euros into the biggest trial for THC on human beings that will start in a couple of weeks in Portugal.
So we'll get results next year.
Next year for both the THC, the isolate CBD is over, so we will submit the application to EFSA very shortly. The full spectrum is still ongoing, will be done by the end of the year. The trial on human beings will be 2023.
Thank you. So we discussed about flower seeds, and let's get back to the fibers and the sheaves. For just a quick reminder, it's a bit different than harvesting flowers and seeds. There are specific farming practices, harvesting machines, and the very important part of hemp processing for fiber is the retting, which can be performed in many different ways according to the geographical area where you grow hemp. So you can do dew retting or green retting on the field where you have enough rain, enough water or humidity, but you cannot do that, for example, in Italy. And then you need other technologies like ultrasound, microbial, enzyme retting, so in a controlled environment, possibly in water. And then, of course, you get the bales and you go to the processing site. And there are two different ways of processing hemp fiber depending on what you want to get. If you want to get the long fiber, you can apply the same technologies. Actually, it's a bit more complex than this, but I will make it simple. So if you want to get the long fiber for textile applications, basically like flax, you can use the same scotching lines as for flax, and we're pretty good at that in Europe because we produce 85% of the flax volumes in the world, and we have all the scotching facilities basically. Otherwise, if you want to work on technical fibers or short fiber for cottonization, for making cotton-like yarns, or for insulation material, paper grade fiber, you go through a decortication facility. So those countries who do not have decortication facility might have a hard time, or a scotching line, hard time investing in the fiber market.
Some numbers? How many decortication we do have?
In Europe we have around between 10 and 15 decorticators. Some of them, they are assembled but not active, but we have, for example, we have 2 in Germany, I believe. 3. We have 2 in the Netherlands, 5 or 6 in France, and there are more elsewhere. Whereas I understand that there are some Canadian and US decorticators coming up, but I'm not sure, I don't know where they stand. The co-product, which is byproduct rather, of the fiber production are ships, huge market for ships. You cannot even imagine, it's mulch, it's animal bedding. Animal bedding market exploded in the past years because everybody was getting like rabbits and stuff at home. But it's also very important, yes, many companies are out of stock, but also it's material used in construction industry, and you cannot imagine how many construction companies, some of them that are also in the stock markets here in Europe, are getting interested in hemp in construction and are already producing hemp-based construction material lines. Well, I don't have to repeat myself, especially bioeconomy products are those where the carbon storage potential of hemp is at its best. We have huge markets in perspective, and just to give you, I will not repeat myself about repatriation of value chains, but just to give you a few numbers of the huge markets ahead. So the non-woven, huge market again, it's medical applications, absorbent papers, hygiene products. It's 9 billion euros turnover in 2019, only in Europe. If we're talking about natural fiber overall, for any type of application, globally we have 60 billion of market. Synthetic fiber, 147 billion. And construction product, that is, sorry, euros, not US dollars, 800 billion worth market only in Europe for construction products. So even if we had like 0.5% of those market, I would believe that would represent great opportunities for companies. So just some products in the different applications. So this is textile. You've seen for sure Patagonia, COS, so H&M Group, Nike, etc. Construction product, construction materials, I mean, they're quite good. We have France, UK, they're very much advanced. There are nice companies, also big ones, using hemp for insulation or for making hardwood, bricks, in situ cast, hempcrete, prefab walls. Romania as well, but we have also Italy. There's an Italian company also, conventional company. So very good, because they perform very well in terms of quality. They store carbon on very long term. They have good thermal and acoustic performances. And on top of that, we have composites and plastics. Let's not forget that you can also extract cellulose from hemp. You can use the fiber to reinforce biomaterials molded in any shape. You also have granulates and filaments for 3D printing, so basically you can do whatever. And either from the cellulose or for the fiber. You can mix the fiber with the resins, as I said. And then, so yeah, maybe the question would be where to invest, or rather how will be the economy of the future. I mean, all countries, all geographical areas have their own peculiarities. I believe that it's interesting to see what's going on in the US and Canada, but it's not the EU. We have a complete different path, different societies, different philosophies, different political institutions, and different objectives. and in some ways we're also opposite, for example, to the American culture in some things. I personally believe, maybe we believe in any case as EIA, that we have great opportunities ahead for hemp, especially in the bioeconomy, for the food market, and so let's not forget about industrial hemp and all its applications. So some take-home messages, as we said, invest on sustainability, on outdoor hemp, invest in processing facilities for the fiber extraction, because again, huge markets ahead. Use old co-products, because there are markets for all of them. But always aim at one application. When you grow hemp for one purpose. But then you valorize the co-products. And with the time, today we have around 82 varieties in Europe. We've seen many new ones in the past 4-5 months. There are a few, not 8 as it was read in a paper, but okay. And there will be more coming up. So varietal research will develop further, and we will achieve like full whole plant approach, hopefully everywhere in Europe. But of course you have to take into account that you have to aim at something in particular. And when it comes to CBD, Lorenzo, a few final words?
Yes, CBD as food supplement, as I said before, it will be tough. But this is the product that we believe is much more suitable for our market. The tox studies are coming, and science seems to be with us. So today is not the venue to share preliminary results. This is something to be discussed with our members. But it will support. Science will be with us, and hopefully all the application will be submitted to EFSA, and then we will wait for their risk assessment. There is one take-home message, which is join EIA, join the association, participate in the working group. Neither me, neither Francesco, we have no clue about the technicity or all the peculiarities, so we need your expertise, and then in this way, the better informed we are, the much more efficient we will be in front of the authorities. Without you, without your support, we don't go so far.
Indeed.
And
thank you.
They pretend to have a salary, both of them, so.
We have 4, right? Huge.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Some questions?
We have time for maybe one question. Does anyone have a question? There's one right there. Hey, Bo, the microphone's coming to you. One more time for Francesco Benetti and Lorenzo Romanesi.
Hey, thanks a lot for your presentation today. I actually have 2 questions. One,
you can only ask one.
What was the argument against 0.2% versus 0.3? That wasn't my main question. With hemp as a superfood, is there an opportunity for grain farmers to ship to Africa to backfill the loss of supply from the Ukraine for wheat and other grains? I was just wondering if there's an opportunity. I taught a class in the University of Nebraska on the economics of hemp, and we talked about this, but the U.S. isn't ready. I was just wondering if the EU is.
I'll take the second one. Oh, can I?
If you, yeah.
I will leave you to explain the French situation. So when it comes to protein, you're right, there is an imbalance in this moment because we cannot count anymore on Ukraine, at least for this year, so we need to rebalance again. There is a lack of protein around the world, and certainly hemp with other alternatives could supply this gap. Europe is not ready. We have 50,000 hectares. Where do you want me to go? I cannot even feed half of Malawi. I mean, it's impossible. So Europe is not ready yet. Why we are not doubling the hectares? Because the regulation is locked. So there is no real wish from the farmer today. And then the farmers, now the prices are different after the Ukrainians, so they are thinking, why should I invest and plant hemp? Then the police can come here and probably throw away half of what I've been growing. So everything is a little bit locked today. So probably there is an opportunity for US or Canada, but certainly we don't have enough to export. We need a little bit more.
Also, if I may, let's not make the mistakes that we made in the past with countries around the world, basically shipping everything and killing their value chain. So the objective is to empower those countries and to make sure they have their value chain so they can produce their own food. Because, I mean, that would be a very good purpose.
Yeah, but in the short term?
Yeah, in the short term we need trade, but we cannot rely on producing hemp for feeding.
But it will take a little bit longer to...
And then on the 0.2–0.3%, well, there were...
You should ask how many French people are there before applying.
They're nasty. No, there are... So the point was that there were some players that there were some players that they had a commercial interest in keeping the 0.2 because they could sell varieties at 0.2 and going up to 0.3 or potentially 1% means more space for new varieties to be registered, so yeah.
He was terribly politically correct, huh? So very much. Bravo.
Thank you all so very much. Let's hear it again.